If you've ever been to the Caribbean, you've probably learned a few lessons. Stand only in the sand, take only pictures, don't touch the manchineel tree, and whatever you do, stay in your resort. The Caribbean is home to some of the most beautiful beaches in the world, as well as some of the highest crime rates. We haven't been to all the islands, but we've been to a fair few. And our favorite, by far, is St. John and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And here's the main reason. You don't have to stay in your resort. In fact, there really aren't that many resorts. There are a few and some hotels, but mostly people stay in houses like VRBO, Airbnb, etc. They fly into neighboring St. Thomas, rent a car, drive quickly past the traditional Caribbean squalor in St. Thomas to the ferry, practice their backing up skills to get on the ferry, and then in a half hour or so, they're on the relatively crime-free and secure St. John. Now, I try not to think very much about politics when I'm there. They tend to be just as dysfunctional as in most of the rest of the world. But when we are there, we have the distinct pleasure of visiting our favorite local beacon of free market economics, a gentleman by the name of Etal Anthony. We first met Etal at his roadside stand near our favorite beach, Salt Pond Bay, on the east end of the island. If you can use it at the beach, Etal probably has it, and at a very reasonable price by Caribbean standards. That includes a rum punch that kicks like the donkeys who may try to steal your lunch, if you give them a chance. Anyway, Etal is in many ways everything the rest of the Caribbean is not. Hardworking, customer-focused, creative, and efficient. And this is not a guy who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, far from it. Safe to say, he has had to pry out every advantage he has gotten in this world. Now, did that stop him? No. The unique thing about this guy, really the reason I'm talking about him right now, is not his entrepreneurial skill and drive. You do see those things elsewhere, far too infrequently, but you do see them. It's that he sees making money as only part of his mission. We've talked to this guy quite a bit, and through his eyes, we have gotten a glimpse of what it takes to make your living from the mostly bratty American tourists on St. John. It's not always a pretty sight, but, and this is the important part, he sees it as part of his job to get the absolute best out of the people he deals with, regardless of their attitude going into the transaction. In doing this, he makes money, of course he does, and more power to him. But he also, if he's successful, makes people a bit better than they usually are. More friendly, more helpful, more tolerant, more relaxed. It depends on the person. Now, is this a permanent personality change? No. But who isn't a little happier when they're at their best, even if it's just for a few minutes? It didn't take us long to realize that this roadside stand where we met him is just a small part of the modest empire Etal has built for himself. Art, music, guided tours of the island. If you want any of these things, Etal is your man. And if you're fortunate enough to do business with him, you may find that as you walk away, the sun looks a little bit brighter, the water looks a little bit clearer. And if you feel these things, whether you know it or not, Etal will be chuckling and ringing up another sale, even if you left his company without spending a dime.